And good morning and hello again from the ice hall in Gävle, Sweden. I'm Paul Romanuk along with Bob McKenzie. Game number 2 of the 1992-93 World Junior Hockey Championship for Canada and for Sweden. Both teams victorious on day 1. Canada shutting out the United States 3-0 yesterday. And Sweden in a game played later on in the evening, defeating the Germans. So both teams start this one with a perfect slate. Sweden in the traditional gold uniforms and Canada in the reds. And of focus in this game will be number 21, Peter Forsberg. He is a brilliant player and he's on the ice now for Sweden. That's him just poking the puck. Sundstrom with it now. Drops it back at the line. Trying to get it up to Naslund, intercepted. McCammon in there for Canada, dropped it back to Lafayette. Smith with a shot, he fired that just wide. Puck ricochets around the boards but not out. Canada with some pressure. Smith again, shoots, and that one is tipped up and over the glass and in amongst the spectators. Look at the forwards for Team Canada starting lineups. Jeff Best, Jeff Shantz down the middle, Ralph Intranuvo, Correa and Lapointe. Also McCammon, Lafayette in the wings, Niedermeyer and Wright, and Alexander Daigle with Chris Gratton and Martin Gendron. Here's a look at the defense and the pairings as Perry Pern had them heading into the game. Pronger and Tully, they normally play together in Peterborough. But of course, all of the above subject to change. Although Perry Pern, Bob, didn't mix and match all that much in yesterday's game.
No, he didn't. He stuck with the lineup right through, and we're seeing basically the same lineup today.
Puck goes up off the netting there above the glass, and thus we get the stoppage. Manny Legacy picked up a shutout, the first shutout for Team Canada at the World Juniors since one against Switzerland at the World Juniors in Saskatoon, but the last real one came when?
1985. Craig Billington against the Soviet Union as Canada went en route to the gold medal that year. They need another big performance from Manny Legacy today. The kind of heroics he had against Team USA, they definitely are going to need them against Sweden here. This Swedish team, well-balanced, very competitive, will be a tough match for Canada, but Canada's pretty fired up.
Peter Ronqvist is in goal for Sweden. He played yesterday's game against Germany. And of note, trivia buffs, he was the final player taken in the 1992 entry draft. Ottawa drafted him in the 12th round. Puck dumped down into the corner. Pronger up there after it for Canada. Still playing with some tender ligaments in one of his ankles, and he took a bit of an elbow there and is cut. Pronger heading over towards the bench, and an elbowing penalty coming up against Sweden. And one thing you will notice almost immediately is a lot more atmosphere here at the rink, a lot more crowd noise than yesterday, primarily because the place is pretty much sold out.
Pretty close to a sellout, and Canada gets an early opportunity here. 1:24 into this game. They're going on the power play. Niklas Sundblad, number 32, a first-round pick of the Calgary Flames in 1991, a very aggressive hockey player, not the prototypical European player. Really likes to play the physical game, got his elbow up there. The referee whistled him. Canada goes on the power play. Great opportunity here.
Referee, by the way, is Brett Parson, and on the lines are Milos Benek and Corey Bowles. The referee is an American. So we'll get a look at Canada's power play, which was very good yesterday. Picked up 2 of the 3 goals with the man advantage in that win over the U.S. Lapointe in over the blue line. Trying to dump it in on goal. It rolls in there to Rundqvist. Loose puck in front, but the net comes off the pegs. Charging in there to take his man, number 6 for Sweden, Edvin Frölund.
What you're seeing very early is that the Swedes are going to play a very physical game. This is a big, strong Swedish team, about the same size as Team Canada. There's only a few pounds and less than half an inch difference on the average height and weight between these two, and you'll see right there, Frölund come in and just mow his man over.
Frölund, the second youngest player in this tournament. He just turned 17 in the last couple of days. I believe it was yesterday was his birthday. As we quickly go to the guide for reference.
Yes, it was his birthday indeed. Plays for Västerås of the Swedish Elite League. In fact, the first place team in the Swedish Elite League right now.
And he takes a regular shift on that team. For a 17-year-old, very impressive. 1:35 to go in the power play for Canada. Lots of time. Adrian Aucoin will start out. Aucoin has a great shot. Feathers the puck up to Lapointe. Cutting in. Best breaking for the net, but he was on his knees. Had his progress impeded somewhat by Wernbloom. And another penalty coming up against Sweden. Magnus Wernbloom will go off. He pulled down Jeff Best as he was breaking towards the net.
Well, a heads-up play by Adrian Aucoin on the blue line. When the puck came back to him, instead of playing around with it on the delayed penalty, he gave the puck away right away to the Swedes, knowing the penalty being called against Vernbloom, allowing them a two-man advantage now for the next minute and 17 seconds. Heads-up play by Aucoin and a good move by Jeff Best going to the net and creating a penalty. This Swedish team tends to be a little undisciplined at times, and Canada's counting on that here early on.
And over the boards for his first shift on this power play, Alexander Dec, number 19 at center.
It's important to get Dec in the game early today. Yesterday, because of all the special teams, mostly penalty killing, he didn't see a lot of ice, and he's an impact player.
Oh, and he was out there in the first period and on, and we pointed it out a couple of times. He made things happen.
Hey, 3 shifts in the first period, Paul. 3 excellent scoring opportunities for Canada.
Works very well with Martin Gendron. He tried to get the puck to Gendron there. They didn't work too well that time. Gendron was in offside. Gendron, a real sniper, picked up a goal in yesterday's game. Just caught the inside of the post on a nice low shot.
This guy's a 71 goal scorer from last season in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League with St. Hyacinthe. And he and Dec work very well together. They've got a lot of chemistry going, and the limited number of shifts that they got yesterday, it'll be a big boon to Canada if they can get those 2 guys going today.
Gendron was drafted by the Washington Capitals. Johansson moving it up around the boards, and it's scooped down the ice by number 21, Peter Forsberg. Forsberg, very talented offensively, but also kills penalties.
Excellent 2-way hockey player.
Here comes Smith, rushing that puck in over the line with Daw. Daw drags it in deep, taking a look. Back to Smith. Nobody right in front yet. Puck punched through and tipped just wide. That was Ratchey with the low shot. Here's Smith again, looking, shooting. That's tipped just wide. Daw hustling in there after it for Canada, number 10. Under immediate pressure, Forsberg belting him off the puck. And Johansson will carry it out to center. 15 seconds left in the 2-man advantage for Canada. And then Canada will have a subsequent 1-man advantage for about 45 seconds. Smith gets it up ahead. Pronger comes in and parks. In along the boards, here's Correa. Gets it in front. Puck fired, that is knocked down. Good chance for Gendron, and I don't believe that Ronquist stopped that. It looked as though it hit the defenseman.
It hit the defenseman, number 2, Daniel Johansson, did not get through to Ronquist. And Paul, it's very important for Canada to try to get on the board early here. The Swedes are not a good comeback team.
It's a 1-man advantage now for Canada as they come in offside, and a penalty is also going to be called. So that will kill off what would have been another 25 seconds of power play for Canada. It's a roughing penalty.
A roughing penalty against the Swedes, and right now
it's going against Sweden.
This crowd isn't too happy right now. 4 consecutive penalties to the Swedish team. Crowd whistling their disapproval on the performance of the American referee. Going to the box is number 4, Thornburg. A roughing penalty. 2 Swedes converged on the Canadian player right at the blue line. Referee Brett Carson from the United States put the hand up immediately at the same time that the linesman had his hand up for an offside. The crowd didn't realize what had happened, but here's the play right here.
Now further ahead on the left wing, there was also a slash, and I thought that that's what was being called against Team Canada. I believe it was Paul Correa who delivered a slash up along the boards. But Canada getting a big break from the officiating in the early going. A 2-man advantage for another 13 seconds. This is Lapointe taking a look. Gets it across in front. Correa with a weak shot that was blocked. Pronger moves it in. Here's Best hustling after it, and apparently the puck coming just outside the blue line. Offside is called on Team Canada. 2 seconds to go in the 2-man advantage. Then Vernbloom will come back out, and Canada will have a 1-man advantage for a minute 36.
Well, that didn't look offside to me, but considering Canada just had 4 power plays here in a row, I don't think they can complain too much about the officiating at this point. Very one-sided. The Swedes being much more aggressive here. It's very important for Canada to take advantage of this opportunity. This is a good Swedish team. If they can get up on them, the Swedish team very likely could fall apart.
The outspoken Peter Forsberg out there at center for Sweden, killing off this Canadian power play. Here's Lapointe. Back to Correa. Smith moves it across. Ratchey. Correa hanging along the boards. Ratchey a low shot. That skips wide. This is Correa down in the corner, trying to knock it loose. Best hustling after it, knocks his man down, but Forsberg controls it. And a great job of penalty killing by Sweden and Forsberg, as Forsberg will fire it down the ice. 53 seconds to go in a one-man advantage for Canada. Some big penalty kills here for Sweden, as Canada did yesterday during a U.S. two-man advantage. Really seemed to give them a boost. This is Ratchey, hemmed into his own zone, back for Smith. Lindgren, number 18, up there for Sweden. Again, just clogging things up in the Canadian zone. 29 seconds to go in Canada's power play. And that's Lindgren breaking it up again. Strong penalty killing. Chance is bumped off the puck. Trying to knock it down there is Bernblom inside the line. McCammon starts back for Canada. 9 seconds to go in the power play. Up ahead to Lafayette. Trying to tiptoe towards the slot. Here's McCammon now. Darting along the boards. Back out. Pronger taking a look. Penalized player back on, but it's a cross. Puck fire just low and wide. Pronger will corral it out around center. Teams back at even strength. Great work by the Swedish team, killing off 3 consecutive Canadian power plays and a couple of two-man advantages.
What started out as a negative, Paul, has now become a positive. Killing all those penalties gives Sweden a lot of momentum, and you can be sure when the next penalty is called, it's likely going to go against Canada.
Forsberg lumbering up to forecheck, couldn't get to the puck that time. Very powerful skater. Watch it, number 21, Forsberg, when he moves after that puck. And play is called, an elbowing penalty coming up, and this one will go against Canada. Janssen off the face-off. Trying to slide it up along the boards. Naslund now. Sweden on the power play. Brent Tully going off for elbowing. Here's Naslund. Sneaks it into the corner. Out in front, Sundstrom scores! Nicholas Sundstrom, it's 1-0 Sweden.
16 seconds into the power play, and there's the big difference between Team Canada and Team Sweden. Canada had 4 power plays early on. Didn't even get a good scoring opportunity to speak of. Sweden 16 seconds into the first power play they had. And a nice job by Forsberg. Manny Legacy pulled himself off the post to come around a little bit. Marcus Naslund over to Forsberg. Forsberg dealing from behind the net. Makes it look as though he's going to go around and dishes off just before he goes. Legacy's legs are open, and it's tucked in by number 24, Nicholas Sundstrom.
And watch a coin, the Canadian defenseman. He's convinced that pass is not going to come at that particular time. Looked as though he figured Forsberg was carrying it right behind the net. 1-0. Sweden on top. Legacy fields the high shot and drops it off. That is the first goal Legacy has given up in this tournament. Puck knocked down there by Lindgren just inside the line. Drops it off along the boards. Sundblad fires one in towards the net. Lindstrom going after it. Tornberg played 7 minutes and 19 seconds of this first period. Sweden is leading 1-0 on a power play goal. Nicholas Sundstrom getting it. And another penalty coming up. It is a high sticking call. And it is going to go against Paul Kariya. And check that. It is going to go against Sweden.
Well, I'll tell you, Paul, right now the referee looks as though he's trying to steal the show from the players, and it's really unfortunate. Nicholas Sundblad going back for his second minor of the game. He gets a high sticking penalty. Quite frankly, this hasn't been a particularly physical game. If anything, the Swedes have been pretty physical. There, and that constitutes a high stick, I guess. Referee calling it very closely. Both teams are going to have to adjust. The referee's not going to change the way he calls the game. The players have to change the way they play the game. In the case of Canada, they got to start playing with a little bit of emotion, start taking some bodies. And first and foremost, get something going offensively on this power play.
Lapointe going after the puck, delayed offside on Canada, so the Canucks will have to come out and clear the zone, and they do. O'Coin back to pick it up. Bess gets it up ahead. Kariya Into the corner. Best up there to join him. He has the puck now. Best centers it in front of the net. That was tapped away. Johansson got his stick on it. Here's a coin. Fakes a shot into Correa, and Correa couldn't control it. Coin was in a good position to shoot, and he's got a great shot, but he elected to go for that extra pass.
The trouble is that Paul Correa read the fake. He went for the net. He was out of position when the pass came.
In over the line. Correa looks behind for a coin, but couldn't get it to him. Johansson after it. Trying to shovel it up along the boards. 55 seconds to go on the power play for Canada.
Paul, a very bad sign early on is that the Swedes are winning all the physical battles along the wall, in the corners, in front of the net. Right now, they're physically dominating this hockey game.
Lapointe up ahead, and offside is McCammon. 42 seconds to go on the man advantage. McCammon, the player of the game yesterday for Canada in the 3-0 shutout victory over the U.S.
The line of Dean McCammon, Jeff Shantz, and Nathan Lafayette was Canada's top line against the United States. McCammon used his speed. Chicago Blackhawk first rounder was a real offensive catalyst, but that's also the top defensive line for Team Canada as we have a look at Swedish coach Tommy Tomp.
And the rough translation, I'm told, of Tomp, his last name is Leprechaun. So maybe he'll bring him a little luck in the tournament. And an interference penalty coming up against Canada. Marcus Naslund was tripped up in the neutral zone. And the referee, Brett Parson, doing something that often European referees tend to do, and that is take the game away from the players.
Well, he's certainly done that, and the crowd here will attest to that, because this crowd, which was pretty raucous last night, and a smaller crowd to see Sweden beat Germany, is sitting on their hands right now. There's basically no atmosphere in this building, and that's thanks to the referee. A pretty abominable performance early on.
We played 8 minutes and 49 seconds of the period, and Canada trailing Sweden by a score of 1-0. Nicklas Sundström with the goal for Sweden. Here comes Naslund. He'll wheel away. Naslund has some speed. He gets to the outside. Can't quite get around Smith and get the shot away. Naslund back of the net now. Slides it around. Johansson shoots. Legacy getting the blocker on that. They'll try to get it back to Johansson again. This is Forsberg controlling it in front for Naslund. Knocked off his stick. Naslund recovers. To Forsberg. He's given a bump. Didn't affect him much. Johansson gets it loose. Cutting in front. Sandstrom over. Puck fired by Sundblad, and Legacy got it.
A great save by Manny Legacy, but let me tell you, watch Peter Forsberg out there. This guy is the best player in Sweden, not the best young player in Sweden. Right now, he's the best player in the Swedish Elite League. His balance, his strength, he's only 5'11", a shade under 200 pounds. But look at how strong he is here. Great vision, a great playmaker, and he puts it over to the Calgary Flame prospect, Sundblad. Gets a very good shot, and Legacy has a quick glove, and we saw that quick glove yesterday against the Americans. No question it's going to have to be in evidence here today if Canada's going to have any chance of being in this game.
Sweden is 1 for 1 in the power play, and they get their second power play chance now. 1:16 to go on the power play. Off the draw, Tornberg, back to Johansson. Sundblad slides it into the corner. Lindgren is out in front. And the puck cleared, but not out. Hustling after it now is Tully, and he scoots it down the boards with 1 minute to go on the power play for Sweden. Johansson back to pick it up. Hans Johansson. Out to center, Sundblad up on the left. He'll get it to him. Sundblad coming in. Lundqvist is with him. He takes it in the corner now. Lundqvist back to Sundblad. Lots of traffic in front, but Sundblad goes to Johansson. Shoots one. A high shot. Knocked down in front. Best will gobble it up and very carefully take it to the blue line and flip it down the ice. 30 seconds to go on the power play for Sweden. We played 10:21 of the first period. 1-0. Sweden is leading. Sundström scored in the power play. Away comes Johansson. In over the blue line. In deep, he is battling with Tyler Wright. Toe-to-toe and skate-to-skate. Vernbloom after it now, number 9. With his back to the player, Tyler Wright. Vernbloom getting it out in front, intended for Fralin, but broken up and fired down the ice. Johansson protecting the puck very well, and play is called. An interference penalty coming up against Sweden. It looks like Edvin Fralin will head off.
You have to play smart hockey. Jeff Shantz knows this referee's calling absolutely everything, and he doesn't have a real good handle on this hockey game. Jeff Shantz, as he skated by Freeland, bumped into Freeland, threw himself onto the ice. The referee took the bait. You'll see here, Freeland, and Shantz goes down. He's just barely touched and goes down. No question it was a dive. It's all part and parcel of having to deal with the inadequacies of the refereeing so far in this game. Freeland finds himself in the penalty box most undeservedly. Nevertheless, a power play opportunity for Canada. It's really unfortunate that two teams as talented as this, the game could well be decided on a bunch of power plays that really shouldn't have been called in the first place.
Just ripping them. The preceding editorial comment brought to you by Bob McKenzie. No, you're absolutely right.
Well, we came to see a hockey game. Right now the referee's the show.
The star of the show, which is not the way it should be. Canada on the power play. Forsberg taps it in over the blue line. Tried to slide it up ahead there to Marcus Naslund, but that's broken up. Puck cleared in. Rundqvist out of his net. Has trouble handling it. Is able to bump it out past Wawrinka. A nice bounce off the glass. 1:29 to go on the power play for Canada. 1-0. Sweden is leading. Sundstrom scored on the power play. Canada 0 for 4 on the man advantage so far in this game. Offside called as a coin fired it in. A couple of players were a couple of steps ahead.
Bad mental errors on a power play to go offside like that, especially on a dump in. Real difficult. Perry Pern can't be happy at this point in time. Team not playing sharp hockey, not playing emotionally, not playing physically, and maybe just a little bit awed by the speed and strength of this very talented Swedish team.
Jeff Best facing off against Forsberg. And Forsberg wins the draw again. I don't think he's lost one yet. Here comes Forsberg. Naslund going for the front of the net, but Forsberg will break off the chase there and just flip it in. Sweden playing shorthanded. Tully with it now for Team Canada. Tully working it up. Puck flipped in by Pronger. Korea up there after the puck along the boards. Tully moves up from the blue line, couldn't keep it in. It's just knocked by him. Forsberg was knocked into the boards and went in head first. That got a bit of a rise out of the crowd. Here's Lapointe given a bump by Forsberg. Puck ricochets back in the net. Korea and Best both up there after it. Here's Best for Canada. 35 seconds to go on the power play. Lapointe comes over there to help out. Best is parked in front. This is Korea back in the net. Off to Best, who's drifted into the corner. Here's Best. Shoots. That stop. Korea centers it in front. Bouncing puck. Lapointe a couple of jabs. And no goal. The green light goes on back of the net, not the red one. And Lapointe was chopping away trying to poke it in after Korea did a nice job of directing it to the front of the net.
Korea just tries to feather this puck through the crease over to Lapointe. You'll see him, nice soft touch there, and the puck comes down underneath Rundqvist. It's loose right there at that point, and you'll see Lapointe just try to jab it in over the line and then pay the price in front of the net.
And even after the jab, you can see clearly the puck did not go in over the blue line. Rundqvist holding the fort. Despite the efforts of Lapointe, who is a real leader with this team.
Well, it's his third World Junior Championship. Didn't play a big role on the team in Saskatoon in 1991. But certainly was a key component, probably the best player for the team last year in Houston. And he's been a real stabilizing influence for this very young, inexperienced Canadian team.
Puck fired in wide. Daw takes it off the boards. 14 seconds to go on the power play. Smith. Ratchie moves it in. Fired on goal. Rundqvist with the save. 7 seconds to go on the power play. Smith just flipping it rink wide to the corner. Gendron will pick it up. Gendron with Daw in front and Deg back of the net. Teams at even strength. Puck poked in just wide by Ratchie. It was tipped on the way through. Here's Smith. Fires it in. And that is knocked down and cleared out. Fans whistling for a penalty for some play in the corner. Daw trying to come in along the boards. Here's Smith. Smith in deep. Looks in front. Centers it. That's cleared away. And Freiland gets it and moves it up ahead to Lundqvist. Outlets to Lindgren. Long shot. Legacy handles that. Gendron back to pick it up. Sweden making some changes on the go. Lundqvist the only forechecker. So Canada able to move it right back down the ice, and now Canada will make some changes. Played 13.5 minutes of this first period. 1-0 hockey game. Sweden leading by virtue of a power play goal from Niklas Sandstrom. Rosen hustles up to the corner. Rosen along the boards trying to knock it loose. He does so to Johansson. Tried to forge his way to the front of the net. Bernblom bumped up along the boards. He got tangled up there. O'Coin will come out for Canada. Feathering it up ahead, breaking down the side. Intranuvo with some good speed, trying to create a scoring chance there. Intranuvo up forechecking. Intranuvo in the slot, works it up ahead. Wright trying to get loose, centers it in front, bouncing puck. And Sweden able to contain and control. Vernbloom out to center. Cleared in rink wide off the boards. Johansson hustling up there after it. Played 14-24. 1-0. Sweden still leading. Vernbloom stealing that puck down in the corner, looking in front, centered it. No one was home, but here's Forsberg. In along the boards, Forsberg cutting towards the front. He's relieved of the puck, and back comes Tyler Wright for Canada. Gets it in over the blue line. Bouncing puck. Niedermeyer trying to control it, but he is controlled and rubbed up along the boards and out of the play in the corner. Here's Intranuvo poking it loose. Niedermeyer still working up there. Sweden controlling. Freiland moves it out. Sundstrom along the boards. Looking for Freiland across at center. Niedermeyer trying to steal. Sundstrom gets it across. Here comes Forsberg. Wheels in. Dips and dives and shoots, and he's stopped by Legacy. Forsberg, nice moves as he got to the top of the slot. Couldn't beat Legacy that time. Forsberg outside the blue line. Drops it back for Naslund. Marcus Naslund over on the side. Forsberg is on the left wing. He'll go in after, but the puck gets caught up in the mesh, and we get a stoppage. You're watching the World Junior Hockey Championship live from Sweden.
Tyler Wright in the penalty box. An unfortunate situation. He made good contact with Marcus Naslund. His stick got locked between his legs. As Naslund went to skate away, Naslund went down. Wright went off for tripping. Power play Sweden.
Sweden 1 for 2 on the power play. And leading this game 1-0. Sundblad, number 32, pokes the puck loose. And Sweden will set up. Tornberg is back at the line instead. Puck going in deep. Now it comes to Tornberg. He's got a pretty good shot. Fakes it this time, moves it over for Janssen, centers it in front of the net, and fanning on that was Lundqvist. Had a good chance. Lundqvist along the boards now. Sundblad shoots, pulled the trigger, and just missed the target. Janssen along the boards, trying to get it up for Lundgren. And now it's cleared over Janssen and out to center. 1:19 to go on the power play for Sweden. Tornberg moving it up ahead. Lindstrom moves it in off the boards and actually over the boards and out of play. 1:10 to go on the man advantage for the Swedes. They lead this game 1-0.
Harry Pern's team's going to have to cope with a very good Swedish team on the power play. The puck movement is excellent. You see Perry Pern right now, very cool, calm, and collected. And that's one of the things I really like about him, is that he's got a very disciplined way about himself. And if he can transmit over to that to his team, then they'll be okay, even though they're down by 1 goal in this game. Pern was one of 3 finalists for the Edmonton Oilers assistant coaching job this past season that went to Kevin Primo. Claire Drake was the other, so some pretty good company there. This guy's eventually bound to be in the NHL in one capacity or another.
And Perry Pern and Claire Drake, both what you would consider outstanding Alberta hockey talent. Puck stolen up front. Rundqvist thought about coming out to get it. Great work up there by McCammon. Was able to knock it loose, but couldn't get the scoring chance. And Rundqvist was conservative and just stayed back in his net. Naslund tiptoes to the top of the slot. Naslund with Forsberg going to the front of the net. Now Forsberg drops into the corner, and it's Sundstrom who's parked right in front. Naslund. Johansson back over for Naslund. Into Forsberg. Back out, top of the point. Janssen shoots, and Legacy pulls it off the top shelf.
I don't know that Janssen got all that he wanted to on that shot. It kind of fluttered. You can almost read the label on the way, but it might have been a tough shot for Manny Legacy. Manny Legacy comes up with a good glove save on a knuckleball from Kenny Janssen on the point. You see Peter Forsberg out there along with Sundstrom. Forsberg's just dominating this game right now, and he really threw down the gauntlet. Last night when he talked about the Canadian team, saying they're not very strong, they're not very fast, and that we would have an easy time with them.
Back at the line, Johansson having trouble, but a Herculean effort to keep it in. Great work by Johansson to keep that puck in the offensive zone on the power play. Puck ricocheted off the boards. Naslund. Back to Janssen. Back to Naslund. Sundstrom is in front. Naslund drilled one from a sharp angle. Obviously too sharp an angle. Went right through the crease around the boards and out. Tyler Wright steps onto the ice, teams at even strength. Janssen up deep. being shadowed by Smith. Forsberg up there to help out. He'll go after it along the boards. Forsberg wins that battle. But then he has another one to contend with Tyler Wright. Forsberg along the boards. Look at him control that puck in traffic. Finally, Forsberg is pulled down. No penalty call. Johansson with a shot. Doesn't make it in. Ratchi knocking that down. Forsberg deflecting it as it went off the boards, and it's grabbed and held by Manny Legacy. We'll be right back. Down in the corner for Team Canada, Darcy Warenka passing it up ahead. Gets past Fralin. Puck moved in front, and Lapointe couldn't control the pass. That was a great job by Intranuvo to get it across in front. And unfortunately for Lapointe, he wasn't able to corral it. He comes down and bumps his man. Puck knocked loose. Rosen into the corner. He'll give chase around back of the net. Bernblom up there as well. Johansson knocks it past Bernblom and right around back of the net. Warenka controlling for Canada. Off the boards. Here comes Lapointe with Bess. Breaking away through the neutral zone. Taps it up ahead. Correa in on goal. Shoots. That was knocked down. Correa looking for the rebound. Couldn't find it. The puck is cleared out. Correa after the puck at the blue line. And that is what Paul Correa's breakaway speed can do for you. Create an instant scoring chance as he just clicked it on and was able to fly in, but Rundqvist with a good stop. Looked as though Correa was going for the short side.
You're trying to tuck it in the short side, and the Ottawa Senator prospect beat him on this one. There really wasn't any room at all on the short side there. The puck went up on its end, and Correa had a tough time handling it. He doesn't have a great angle coming down the left side like that. He wasn't able to cut to the middle. And as a result, Rundqvist staying back in his net, covering a lot on that short side. Not much Correa could do.
We have talked and you have read about the speed of this Canadian team. Two good examples moments ago. Ralph Intranuvo breaking down the left wing, creating a scoring chance for Lapointe, and then right there with Correa.
Now, having said that, this Swedish team is far faster. There's no question.
You think so?
Forsberg was right on that count. This Canadian team, with a few exceptions, cannot skate as fast as this Swedish team.
Pass up for Grattan, and that is a two-line pass. We have played 18:56 in this first period, and a 1-0 hockey game for Sweden. Well, coming up during the intermission, the Canon World Junior Diary. Against better advice, we outfitted the Canadian team with a camcorder from Canon, and we'll see what they have to show us. Did you go through the tape before we offer it to
No, I'm not the censor.
That's coming up during our intermission.
1 minute left of the first period.
Lindgren moving it down into the corner. Best back there after it for Canada. Less than a minute to go in this first period. Lindgren trying to chop it loose. Being held at bay by Chris Pronger, who is all arms and legs when you're that close, as Lindgren will surely attest. Best coming out now for Canada. Pass intended for Correa, and that's a two-line pass. Icing is called on Canada with 36 seconds to go in the opening period. Grattan getting his first shift of the tournament.
Chris Grattan out there from the Kingston Frontenacs, expected to be a top 3, maybe top 4 pick overall in the 1993 entry draft. Didn't play a shift in the game against Canada, and as you said, Paul, that is his first shift out there. You know, Paul, 24 seconds ago they made an announcement, 1 minute left in the period. That should be like an alarm bell going off in the heads of Team Canada now, especially with a face-off in their own end. Very critical not to give up a goal at this point.
And Forsberg on the face-off, which he again wins. By my count, and it's a rough one, he's been perfect on the draws so far in this game.
He's so strong. He's just got great balance. He's just so competitive. You know, we talk about the prototypical Swedish hockey player. This guy is as strong, as physical, cannot be intimidated. And in fact, what the Canadians should be doing is trying to use that to their advantage. He will never back down from a challenge. You could send a player out to try and get him off the ice, and it would not be very difficult at all because he doesn't always have the discipline that he should have. He wants to battle every time against everybody who gets in his way or says anything to him.
Smith up off the boards. That's knocked down by Janssen. He'll bounce it back in. Glove down by Rathje. 15 seconds to go in the period. Lafayette tied up along the boards. Shantz couldn't pick it up. Shantz, McCammon, and Lafayette, the most effective threesome for Canada yesterday. Here's Naslund working his way in. Fans on that with 5 seconds to go. But there really hasn't been an effective threesome for Canada so far in this game. As the first period comes to an end, the only goal scored on a power play. First intermission coming up, World Junior Diary among other things. Well, they finally did get a goal on Manny Legacy. and it came in the first period. The only goal so far in this hockey game. It was scored on the power play by Nicklas Sundstrom. Now the players are on the ice. They're all set to go, but conspicuous by their absence, the referee and the linesman.
I say drop the puck and let's get at it. I shouldn't be too hard on the referee. He's got a tough job. It's easy to call the game from up here, but you really come here anticipating a real great game, and so far what we've seen is an awful lot of power play hockey when probably didn't need to be. Having said that, here come the officials. And it's really up to Canada now to get the tempo of this game picked up a little bit, establish some sort of physical superiority over the Swedish team, and number one, get in the face of Peter Forsberg, Marcus Naslund, and Sundstrom, the top line for the Swedish team. You've got to play physical, you've got to be all over them, you've got to really bang them, bother them, and basically annoy them. And in that first period, there just was too little evidence of Team Canada doing that.
Referee is Brett Parson from the United States. Milos Banik and Corey Bowles are the linesmen. Banik is a Czechoslovak. Bowles is from the U.S. So the teams will start this period with a clean slate. Even strength, which was a rarity in the first period.
See how long that lasts. There I go being cynical again.
Rink wide pass to Marcus Naslund. Wheels up along the boards. In towards the back of the net. Sundstrom up there after it. Johansson charges up along the boards. He's got Forsberg trailing. Sundstrom in around back of the net. Wheels right in front. Legacy the stop from point blank range. That was Marcus Naslund with a swipe at it. Smith will now pick it up for Canada. Johansson knocks it down. They'll golf it back down into Canadian territory. Smith with it. Forsberg steals the puck from Shantz, who lost his balance, but getting it back now is McCammon for Canada. He'll head in deep, and he'll head in on his own. Canada's on a line change. McCammon losing his helmet and the puck. And Canada able to complete the change. Sundblad for the Swedes. Up along the boards. Pronger knocks it down and fires it right back in. Rundqvist leaving it back of the net. Here's Tornberg. We are just underway in this second period. I'm Paul Romanuk with Bob McKenzie. Here's Intranubo coming in. Drops it off in front. Trying to pull the trigger there was right, but couldn't quite find it. Intranubo with a hit as he knocks Sundblad down.
Got to be a lot more of that. They're starting to generate a little physical contact here. They've got to establish the physical game here.
Niedermeyer trying to get it in front. It's broken up. Sundblad along the boards. Just tips it down, and icing is called on Sweden. We've played 137 of this second period. Glad to have you with us. Exclusive coverage of the 1992-93 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Well, good indications. 137 into this period as we look at the Canadian bench. A little more physical contact. There was 2 or 3 hits on that first shift. That's what they've got to do. We're not talking about running around, getting out of position, knocking guys flying. We're talking about laying the body on these Swedes and slowing them up a little bit. These guys are an awfully good skating hockey team. You've got to slow them up with some physical contact. That is Canadian hockey.
Lapointe off the faceoff trying to get to the puck. He is hooked up. Lapointe will head to the corner and battle with Fralin. Fralin had him tied up. Out across center, Vernbloom, long shot. Steered to the boards there by Legacy. Aucoin trying to pick it up. Legacy. Bess. Up ahead for Lapointe. Quick pass out at center for Korea. It was behind him. Vernbloom able to knock it down. Now it's picked up by Warenka. Up over the line. Shoots one right on, and Rundqvist has it sitting behind him and finally covers it up. He didn't know where it was. The fans helped him out back of the net, though, with a huge roar.
Now, I don't want to be all over the official's case again, but it seems to me that referee was way out of position. The puck went right through the goaltender's legs. It came back out the other side. Now, I'm not saying in every situation every referee is going to be down into that corner to see that puck, but that's the idea. And that referee blew the whistle. He was just inside the blue line. He wasn't coming back into position to see if that puck he needed. What if it had crossed the line? Would he have seen it? I don't know.
Sweden controlling off the faceoff. Johansson. Make that Jonsson with the puck. Johansson is his defensive partner. Out comes Marcus Naslund. Number 19 halted there at the line by Lafayette, who will give chase into the corner. Naslund slides it up around the boards. Kept in at the line. Puck fired in by a coin. That's knocked away. Chance in along the boards. McCammon out there to help out. Forsberg able to poke it loose. Janssen with it now. Up off the boards and down the ice. And icing is called on Sweden. Live from Sweden, and this is the 1992 World Junior Hockey Championship. This is Ratchie heading back to pick it up for Team Canada. Play just underway. We are early in the second period, and Canada's trailing in this game 1-0. Ronquist will hang on to the puck there with Daig and Gendra lurking in the vicinity. Ronquist really wasn't tested in yesterday's game against the Germans.
No, he hasn't been tested that often here early. Canada outshot Sweden in the first period, but we're able to get some real good shots on him.
Daig up on the faceoff. Janssen moves it up ahead. Here comes Sundblad. Wheels in over the blue line. Waist-high shot. Legacy is going to hang on to it with Lindgren coming in front. Lindgren exchanging a few words with Legacy before he coasts out of the picture. Found it interesting after the game yesterday, Legacy saying that yes, he did feel that he had something to prove coming out to the tryout camp with the team and subsequently here at this tournament, undrafted and not given a lot of credit, primarily because of his size. The NHL frowns on small goaltenders.
He was their best goaltender in the summer evaluation camp, their best goaltender at the Christmas evaluation camp, and right now he's their best goaltender playing ahead of Philip DeRouville.
Sundblad off the faceoff, rolling it in. Legacy taps that away. Smith in back of the net. Lindgren to contend with. Also Lindqvist. Lindqvist and Lindgren working in back of the net. Here's Sundblad. Sundblad taps it along the boards and goes to the front of the net. Lindqvist looking in front for Sundblad. Sundblad almost tapped that home. Lindqvist again. Getting it in front. Sundblad with a backhand shot that's knocked down, and he will lug after that puck into the corner. Sundblad tried to center it, broken up by Intranuvo, and he will quickly dart out to center. Puck got a little bit ahead of him, and it was easy pickings to be poked off his stick. Thornburg gets it rink wide. Play just over 4 minutes of the second period. 1-0 hockey game. Canada trailing on a Sweden power play goal back in the first period. Tyler Wright dropping it off for Niedermeyer. He's tied up and taken out along the boards. Niedermeyer continuing to battle. Slides it around back of the net. Tyler Wright, number 12. Trying to forecheck. He's hauled down. A big crash over along the boards. And play is called. Tyler Wright was doggedly pursuing a couple of players up there. A 1-0 hockey game.
A good shift by Canada there. Rob Niedermeyer, strong work along the wall, kept the puck in, put it around behind the net, and went charging over there to try and lay a Swede out. He's got submarine.
I was going to say a 1-0 game in a game that really hasn't featured an awful lot of chances either. Pronger down in the corner trying to work it loose. And with Pronger up, Martin Lapointe dropping back to cover his spot. Now Lapointe back up in front. Tried to slide it in the short side. Pronger's right in front too. Lots of traffic down in front of Ronquist. If they can get the puck out there. Lapointe still in front, battling away. Almost got his stick on that. Another chance, scores! Persistence paying off for Martin Lapointe. He just would not be denied.
Good work down low behind the net. Canada did a good job, and the Swedes got fouled up in their defensive coverage. 2 or 3 Swedes went chasing after one Canadian player, allowing the puck to be fed back behind the net. Coming out in front, down low, you'll see the puck bouncing all over the place. And Martin Lapointe's able to drive that in. Paul Correa off his skate. Coming out from behind. Lapointe almost had it there, and there he gets it from Correa. Good strong work down low by the Canadian team to tie this game at 1. They're starting to establish some physical game, and they're back into it.
And Lapointe just did a tremendous job. He was battling with number 6, Edmund Fralin, down there in front of the net, tooth and nail. He was tied up and got away a couple of times and just would not move from that slot area, and it paid off.
Jeff Best did a nice job coming out from behind the net to get the puck into play in the first place.
Naslund gets it up at center. 1-1 hockey game. Sundstrom trying to shake off the checker. Had his chance right on him. Forsberg comes in, into the corner. He and McCammon get tied up. Marcus Naslund back for Forsberg. He let it go by. Sundstrom going after it. Sundstrom can't pick it up. Canada able to clear the zone. Janssen looks for Forsberg and gets it to him. Steps through traffic. He's pulled down. Lundqvist, top of the slot, drills one on goal, and Legacy will hold on. Lundqvist leaned into that one. Welcome back to the Ice Hall in Gävle, Sweden. I'm Paul Romanuk with Bob McKenzie. Gord Miller back at our control center in Toronto. Hope you're enjoying our exclusive coverage of the World Junior Championship. You were probably able to sleep in a little later this time than yesterday. The 7:30 Eastern Time start. Still pretty early in the West, though. Legacy dropping it off for Ratchey. Niedermeyer. And Wright tried to lean into it, ended up hitting the back of Ralph Intranuvo. Intranuvo up to forecheck. Sundblad will hustle after it into the corner. Smith right on him, and Legacy out. He let it sneak by. Tyler Wright along the board, given a bump by Lindgren. Ratchey over there trying to poke it loose, just lurking off, hoping the loose puck will come to him. It's pushed loose. Here's Lindgren. Tried to center it in front. Sundblad was decked. He didn't see Smith coming, and he flattened him. And Smith decks another man in the corner. He belted Lindqvist on that occasion. Smith really playing the body on this shift. And Sweden will give it right back. In front, Lindqvist ready to shoot it. He's tied up. And away comes Intranuvo. Up to Niedermeyer. Intranuvo is with him. And offside as Intranuvo slowed down, and Niedermeyer getting the glove up. Along the boards there with Johan Tornberg, and everyone comes in to have a say.
Now we're seeing a little Canadian hockey. Some bodies flying. Jason Smith for the Regina Pats doing a great job in his own defensive end, just pounding guys in behind the net. 2-3 big hits by Jason Smith. The Canadian team starting to pick up the physical aspect of it, and right at the forefront of it is Jason Smith from the Regina Pats, a big defenseman. But out of all this good, something bad is coming. Looks like it should be coincidental minors. Although at this point, I'm not entirely sure. Referee is sending the Canadian into the bench, the penalty box. And at this point, that looks as though it's the only penalty. Tully going in. Not quite sure what exactly Tully did. Oh, there does appear to be somebody from the Swedish bench having to come over.
Just to get back to Smith, it's not a surprise at all that he's playing well. But what is a bit of a surprise is perhaps that he wasn't at the summer evaluation camp. He wasn't at the camp all the way through. And
well, this is a guy that's been underestimated by some people all the way along. The New Jersey Devils took him in the first round of last year's entry draft, but he probably wasn't rated to go by a lot of teams until the second round. The Devils saw something they liked.
I was trying to stay out of the play.
so they sort out the penalties, but for sure Ralph Intranuvo is in there, as is Brent Tully. Nobody in the Swedish side yet.
Well, out of this, Canada, oh, it looks to be even. One of the Swedish players must have picked up, Thornburg must have picked up a double minor. I'm not quite sure. There's two Canadians in the penalty box right now, Tully and Intranuvo. There's only one Swede, Thornburg, in the penalty box, yet now, there we go. And it is an extra 2 minutes. Oh boy, they keep putting different numbers up on the board.
It's like watching a roulette wheel or something. The number is constantly changing. What it looks like is two offsetting minors to each team, which would leave us with 3-on-3 and lots of room and probably some pretty entertaining couple of minutes.
Well, the penalty box door is still open on the Swedish side, so there's obviously another player coming, but how long does it take for a referee to tell the Swedes they've got 2 penalties, they get 2 guys over into the penalty box?
Oh, probably a while if you don't speak Swedish, maybe.
Most of the Swedes speak English, which is easy for communication here, and now it looks like number 21.
That's Andreas Samuelsson heading off. And now it's number 27, Roger Rosen.
Well, I think we finally got it straightened out, but as you said, Paul, what it boils down to is this pair of offsetting minors.
Talked a few moments ago about Smith not being at the summer evaluation camp for Team Canada last year. Roger Rosen, the guy who's in the penalty box now, maybe the biggest surprise of all to make this Swedish team, because he has never participated in the Swedish national program or the elite program up until now. This is his first appearance, and that is not like all of the other players on the team.
Oh, a very challenging situation here for Perry Pert and his coaching staff. Dave Siciliano standing beside him, and Joe Canelli, who just left the picture. We're going to see some 3-on-3 hockey, and boy, this is a big ice surface, 100 feet wide, 200 feet long, and it's going to be a real challenge for the Canadian guys right here to skate with this Swedish team.
Well, one guy who I would guess should see some ice time during this 3-on-3 would be Alexander Deg, who is just a great player and can really wheel with the open ice.
Right now, Peter Forsberg is out there for Sweden, and they want to make sure, Canada wants to make sure that they can keep him in check. As a result, Dean McCammon, who is as good a skater as anybody on the Canadian team, will be out there making sure Forsberg doesn't take off.
That gentleman you just saw on the screen was an IIHF official who was down at the penalty box helping to straighten things out. And McCammon looks as though he wants an explanation or two as well.
Oh, now the scoreboard's changed again, and what it's going to boil down to is an extra 2-minute minor to the home side, which in this case is
Canada.
So an extra 2 minutes. The number 9, Ralph Intronuvo, who came in after the player Niedermeyer had been pushed up against the boards. Intronuvo came flying in with a late hit. Now, the interesting thing I find about all this is that the official, Brett Parsons, never signaled a penalty at all when the infraction happened, and we've had a stoppage now of a good 3 to 4 minutes to sort out all this. It's just mind-boggling, to be honest with you.
Could you recap everything that's happened in the last few minutes, including all the details about the clock? It's changed a few times. The penalty box doors have been like revolving doors.
We've had to bring a consultant in from the IHF to help the timekeeper out. Let's get with the program. This is the World Junior Championships.
We'll be back with the second half of our penalty calls after this brief interlude of action. It is 4-on-4. And check that, it's 5-on-4 for Sweden. Forsberg being watched by Lafayette, pair of 21s. And Sweden, a great skating team with room to move. Here comes Johansson, moves it up. Pronger darting over there to knock it down, and now Sweden will have itself a 2-man advantage. Forsberg was hauled down on his way in towards the net.
Adrian Aucoin reaches in, gun to the arm. Not much question about that one, pulling Forsberg off his feet. Forsberg had beaten him around the outside. Aucoin goes off, and now it's a very dangerous time here for Team Canada, who started this period so promising. Some good physical play. They were in Forsberg's face. I noted both Tyler Wright, Dean McCammon, some of the other players talking a lot more to Forsberg, trying to throw him off his game.
The tournament supervisor came down here and made the call. He even said that. He goes, the supervisor came and told me I have to go with it. What the hell is that? That's a fucking joke. It's not hockey. Geez, Sweden's I don't know. Sweden's playing, so they get whatever.
Oh, we hear from the penalty box, according to the Canadian players, the tournament supervisor came down and told the referee which calls to make. Certainly an interesting situation.
I got 2. He's up there.
Sweden controlling off the faceoff. 5-on-3. Here's Forsberg. Off to Naslund. Back to Forsberg. No hurry, lots of room. Janssen to Forsberg, to Janssen. Shoots! Legacy the save. That was a duel between two players right there. Janssen had lots of time to crank it up and fire, and Legacy stared him down.
Good penalty killing by the Canadian team because it was so disciplined. You saw they never moved. The Swedes weren't attempting to penetrate their little diamond in there, so the Canadian players were contentious to stay there, let Legacy see the shot, and they will give the Swedish player, as they did the Americans yesterday, the slap shot from the top of the circle and put the pressure on their goaltender to make the save.
Johansson over to Naslund. Drops it off for Forsberg. To Naslund. Back to Forsberg. Forsberg. Top of the point. Fire just wide by Johansson. Score! Sweden with a two-man advantage. And that was Nicklas Sundström scoring his second goal of the game.
Sundström just took that hard rebound off these very live boards here. Manny Legacy was still down, trying to recover from the original shot from the point, and just drove it up, roofed it up underneath the crossbar. Nicklas Sundström, the left winger on that line, the less heralded of all the players on that line. There's the slap shot, second goal of the game for him, and he bangs that one up high, just a reflex golf shot. Manny Legacy was down and a bit out. You see Forsberg put it over to the point. The slap shot by Johansson, the rebound, bingo. 2-1 Sweden, and Canada still has a minute and 23 left on a penalty to kill off here.
Nicklas Sundström, probably the top undrafted player on this Swedish team. Would you rate him as a first rounder in the upcoming draft?
Probably not. He's a little on the small side, probably a little more suited to the European style. He'll get drafted this year, but maybe not as high as some of the other guys.
2-1, Sweden leading. Both goals coming in the power play. And Sweden still with a 5-on-4 advantage to go for another 54 seconds. Janssen. Sundblad steps through. Offside is called on Sweden. And an interference penalty coming up. And it is going to go against Sweden, thus nullifying the remaining 44 seconds of their power play. Mats Lindgren heading off.
Mats Lindgren, number 18, got involved with Jeff Best just in the center ice area, away from the play. Referee Parsons made the call for the interference call. Lindgren, 6'1", 187, plays for Skellefteå, a Division I team here in Sweden. You'll see right in the middle of this, just at the center ice area, just a little hook right there, pulling down the Canadian player. And the last 44 seconds of the Canadian penalty will basically go nullified here, and then Canada will go on the power play.
This is Lindgren's second year in Division I. He will play in the Elite Division, which is the top Swedish league, next year. And just in case you were wondering, they don't have a draft system similar to what there is in North America. It is a free market. You step in, and whoever has the best offer signs the player. Forsberg with a foray deep back of the net, battling Pronger, a couple of elite players right there. And Forsberg controlling it. He's pulled down by Pronger, and a penalty coming up against Team Canada. That was a battle of a couple of blue-chip players, Chris Pronger and Forsberg. And Pronger finally pulling him down.
The one blue-chip player, awfully young though, Chris Pronger, up for the draft this year. Peter Forsberg, a first-round pick in 1991. And watch the strength, the balance, agility of Peter Forsberg, the best player in Sweden and a future Quebec Nordique. NHL scouts rate him in talent pool somewhere between Mike Ricci and Joe Sakic. Not nearly as good as Sakic, but maybe a little better than Mike Ricci. Falls somewhere in between.
Forsberg is the leading scorer in the Elite Division.
He'll be the first 18 or 19-year-old to lead the Elite League in scoring since Kent Nilsson did it. And the point being made by a lot of Swedes is that Kent Nilsson never dominated the Swedish Elite League the way Forsberg is this year.
And just remember, that is as an 18-year-old playing against a lot of competition, 10 years his senior. Naslund flies in, shoots, and Legacy pulls it down. Keeps it in play, too. Naslund tapping at that puck along the boards. 1:07 to go in the power play for Sweden. Johnson off the boards for Forsberg. Tried to step towards the net. He was flattened by Smith. This is Lafayette stepping in. Drops it off. Ratchey up there to poke at it. Couldn't pick it up. Naslund coming back. Lead pass to Forsberg. Steps in. Forsberg still with it. Drops it back. Tornberg moves it up. Forsberg going for the front of the net. Ratchey intercepting that. You saw Smith step into Forsberg. Smith has flattened a few guys in this game, and he just bounced off of Forsberg. He weighs just under 200 pounds. Very heavy. Or solid.
Tremendous balance. In many ways is like a men playing against boys today. But this Swedish team can be beat. They are vulnerable. They tend to get undisciplined at times. In games they think they're supposed to win, that's when they're most vulnerable of all. So Team Canada can pounce on them here if they keep it close.
4-on-4 for another 7 seconds, and then it will be a power play for Sweden. Lindgren steps out, and Sweden now goes on the power play. Chris Pronger is still in the penalty box, serving the remaining 22 seconds of his penalty. And then, for the first time in a while, the penalty boxes will be empty. Vernbloom up at the line. He is stopped. Puck flipped by Sundblad, the forechecker, down the ice. We have played 11 minutes and 32 seconds of this second period. And Team Canada trailing Sweden by a score of 2-1. Nicholas Sundstrom has both goals for Sweden, both in the power play. Wheeling up in over the line. Lindgren drops it off along the boards for Sundblad. He is hauled down. Sundblad continuing to swipe at it. Puck finally rolled down along the boards. Havelid back to pick it up. And he'll tap it down the ice. Icing is called on Sweden.
Icing.
From Gävle, Sweden, this is the World Junior Hockey Championship on TSN. This is Smith for Canada over to Ratchey with play just back underway. Teams at even strength. Ratchey for Canada. Being checked up along the boards. Vernbloom watching him. Tried to roll it back for Fralin. Fralin knocks it ahead for Vernbloom in the corner. Steps out of the way. Fralin up there after a play is called. The puck was gloved ahead by a Canadian player, and thus the whistle.
Well, Perry Pern juggling his lines just a little bit at this point. Alexander Deg, who's had so very little ice time in this game because of all the special team play, a situation not unlike yesterday against the Americans, is now centering a line with Paul Kariya and Martin Lapointe. Now that was going into training camp the #1 offensive line, but because Deg had a rather ordinary training camp and Jeff Best played so well, they moved Best into the #1 slot and slid Deg to arguably the #4 spot on the team. But right now, Alexander Deg back out there with the #1 unit. And I think it's very important for Canada, if they're going to generate some sustained offense, to have Alexander Deg going and going well.
The faceoff came back outside the line. It was a Swedish player who had gloved it ahead to a teammate. Canada with some pressure. Lapointe couldn't pick it up. Lapointe's done a great job in front of the net in this game. Johansson peels into the corner, #10 for Sweden. Johansson working the give and go, couldn't get it back, however. Kariya hooked down by Vernbloom. Top of the slot, shoots just wide. Vernbloom knocking Kariya down and got a good scoring chance as he carried back to the top of the slot. Kariya with Deg going for the net, gets it across in front. Deg was coming in, so was Lapointe, and that was Lapointe that was slammed into the net as he was working in towards the goal. So Lapointe gets up rather slowly. Story of the game so far in this game: 2 goals for Nicholas Sundstrom and 14 saves for Peter Rundqvist, the Swedish goaltender, the Menon story of the game to this point. Also the story, penalties. 16 minors called in the game so far, 8 to Canada and 8 to Sweden.
Martin Lapointe was driving hard to the net there. Good work by the Swedish defense, driving him right in, knocking that net off the moorings. Swedes are playing very tough defense, making it difficult for Canadians who go to the net.
Tyler Wright up in the face-off for Canada. Taps it by Forsberg, and that is the first draw Forsberg has lost in this hockey game. Wright beat him, and Wright with a shot that is stopped. Rebound, scores! Intranuvo.
Intranuvo picks up a big rebound off the pad of Rundqvist. Tyler Wright got that puck out just off to the side of the slot. He almost had a stick lifted and had the puck taken away from him, but got the shot on net. You'll see Tyler Wright with the puck right there, puts it through. There's the rebound, and very quick reflex action by Ralph Intranuvo. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound puts it underneath. There's Tyler Wright, fights off a check from the Swedish player, and Ralph Intranuvo puts in the rebound, beating Daniel Johansson to that loose puck in front of the net. You've got to be first on the puck. Canada was there, and a good effort by Tyler Wright, who not only won the face-off to get that play going from the beginning, but also fought off a Swedish checker and got the puck in front. Intranuvo scores the goal.
Intranuvo's first goal of the tournament. And he comes from one of the great Canadian junior hockey teams, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, back-to-back OHL champions. Intranuvo with a goal there for Canada to tie it up at 2. But a huge piece of that puzzle was Tyler Wright winning the faceoff from Forsberg. A penalty called. It's a hooking call, and it is going to go against Sweden.
Well, Tyler Wright and Ralph Intranuvo doing a good job of using their speed to advantage and creating a situation where defenseman Hans Jonsson, number 17, had to haul Wright down. Wright was breaking through the neutral zone after a loose puck. Jonsson was afraid he was going to blow by him and just hauled him to the ice.
And they don't call it hooking, they call it interference, for those of you who are scoring at home, although I can't imagine why you would be.
So they take that back. It was Rob Niedermeyer who was hauled to the ice. But again, a good job by the entire line, breaking to the net, forcing the Swedes to take the infraction.
Does anybody actually score a hockey game at home?
Alex!
More a baseball thing. Canada with some pressure. Lapointe off to the side. They got it across, but he couldn't wrap it home. Ratchy shoots it in. Look at Lapointe battling in front. He got a goal out of that earlier and tries to get the puck here. He's knocked to the ice. Deg working back to the net. Gets it loose. Correa to Deg. Shoots. Rebound in front. Another jab at it. Deg trying to get to it. Puck still loose. And finally, the Swedes able to clear the zone. But tremendous work by Lapointe right down in front of the goal.
Lapointe was all in Ronquist's face. Ronquist was very upset, pushing to the ice a couple of times. But good work by Lapointe to really fluster the Swedish goaltender.
Here's Smith, keeping it in. 1:07 to go on the power play for Canada. Correa along the boards. Ratchy's up there too. Here's Correa. Darts to the corner. Fralin watching him. Ratchy shoots one. That got away from him. Smith in after it. Bouncing puck and a couple of jabs at it for Lafayette. Fired at the side. Lafayette buzzing around in front. Deg is hauled down as he tried to get it in front of the goal. Here's Smith at the line. Shoots. Ratchy comes over. Up against the boards, able to keep it in. Deg hustling after the puck. Lafayette back there too, hauls his man down. Here's Deg, couldn't jab it loose. And Deg hammers into Fralin, and play is called. A penalty coming up against Alexander Deg.
Bad penalty to take by Deg, very frustrated. Deg extremely frustrated because Jonsson had his hand put right over the puck, covering it up. So Deg came in and got the stick up and got him in the face and drove him up against the glass. The referee was right on the scene and called the penalty, but just frustration on the part of Alexander Deg.
You're watching the World Junior Championship on TSN. Alexander Deg heading down to the Canadian dressing room, and thus lots of chatter in the Canadian bench and concern on the part of Perry Pern, and also concern on the part of Kenny Jonsson.
You see Jonsson has his hand right over the puck, puts it ahead there. There's the cross check to the side of the head. Now, is that a 5-minute penalty? Is that a game misconduct? Right now, at this point in time.
Well, there's no announcement yet as to what it is. Referee sorting that out right now. But for sure, it is more than 2 minutes. I'm not so sure it shouldn't be at least a 10-minute misconduct. That was a brutal cross-check.
Alexander Deg has picked up 12 games and suspensions on 2 separate incidents recently in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He's only played hasn't played a game in the QMJHL since November the 8th. Or rather, only 4 games in the QMJHL since November the 8th. An 8-game suspension for hitting from behind and another 4-game suspension for an elbow. It's a 2-minute minor up on the board at this point in time.
Wernbloom utvisas 2 minuter för crosschecking. Tid 15-19.
Perhaps he picked up a misconduct after the fact. We'll have to see here when we get the announcement in English.
Number 19.
Well, a 2-minute penalty also going up on the Swedish side
5 minutes penalty
of the
for
score clock.
cross-checking. Time 15-18.
Well, they just announced 5 minutes for cross-checking, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Again, some confusion on the scoreboard as to what's up there.
Wernbloom in Team Sweden, 2 minutes penalty for cross-checking. Time 15-18.
Magnus Wernbloom picks up 2 minutes for cross-checking on the Swedish team, and Deg picks up 5 minutes for cross-checking for Team Canada.
So the teams will play even for the next 2 minutes, but then for the final 3 minutes of this period, or close to it anyways, Canada will be a man short, and no chance if Sweden scores a goal of getting the man out of the box.
Actually, Canada with a 4-on-3 for the next 15 seconds. Penalty to Hans Janssen carrying over. Here comes Forsberg. Top of the slot, had it swept away from him. And now it is exactly the scenario you described. Even strength. Puck fired in off the side of the net. Good low shot by Pronger. Trying to work it back out for Tyler Wright. Knocked away from him. Hit over the blue line. Here's Marcus Naslund. That shot is blocked. He gets it back. Naslund. 4-on-4. In for Forsberg. Looking for Naslund. He's also got Tornberg open back at the point. Forsberg still. Back to Tornberg. Shoots one, and that is tipped by Tyler Wright. Up over the glass and out of play. The last big goal that Eric Lindros scored for Canada on the international stage. In a very exciting game against Germany. The German team a little on the smallish side at this tournament, but very pesky. They've really pushed the Swedes last night. Sweden ended up winning the game 4-2. Puck fired in wide. Teams at even strength for the next 55 seconds, and then Sweden will go on the power play. Lundqvist back to the point. Fired in by Janssen. That is knocked away. Tornberg gets it around back of the net. Legacy will just park it there for Warenka. And here comes McCammon away for Canada. 35 seconds to go in the even strength situation. Here's McCammon coming in deep. He's got Best going for the front of the net. McCammon tries to sneak around, loose in front. Best couldn't get to it, nor could McCammon.
Great speed by Dean McCammon on the wraparound. Came very close to tucking that in past Petter Ronquist.
15 seconds to go in even strength, and then Sweden will have a 3-minute man advantage. Here's Best, sneaks behind the defense, right in there, scores! Jeff Best gives Canada the lead.
What a big goal by Jeff Best, the leading scorer of the Guelph Storm. And look at that Canadian bench whooping it up. Jeff Best, a heads-up play to sneak in behind the Swedish defense, and just a tremendous pass put right on his stick. Jeff Best comes in, makes no mistake, goes far post, just inside the post, and beats Petter Ronquist, a third-round pick of the Minnesota North Stars. Best is a sniper from Tillsonburg, Ontario, and a good job to get the puck up to him and sneak in, just staying onside. And here comes the shot right inside the post. Terrific job by Jeff Best, and a nice pass by the Canadian defenseman.
Jeff Best, a great sniper, and you see an obvious example of that here. He picked up 102 points last year with a very weak team. And the team he's with this year in Guelph, much stronger than that.
Jeff Best was not supposed to make this hockey team. He came to camp. They couldn't keep him off the team. He was one of the best players, one of the most offensively exciting players in their camp in Kitchener, Ontario. They just couldn't keep him off, and he ended up on the first line, arguably the first line, with Paul Correa and Martin Lapointe.
So Canada with a 3-2 lead.
Sweden is now playing with
Naslund. Trying to work it up around the boards. Naslund is out there along with Forsberg. 2:45 to go in a power play for Sweden. Here comes Marcus Naslund. Steps in over the line, trying to get across to the top of the slot, but Rathje had a hold of him. Sundstrom up along the boards. He has both goals for the Swedes in this game. Nicholas Sundstrom. Trying to work it loose. Forsberg's in there too. Naslund to Forsberg. Drops it off. Naslund tipped that one as he stretched out his stick. A nice try. He just tipped it wide. Marcus Naslund with Sundstrom in front. Goes to Forsberg, back in the net. Forsberg back out, fired on goal by Johansson, who had sneaked in from the point. And the puck cleared up over the boards and into the crowd. 2:02 still to go in the power play for Sweden. Very tough start to this schedule for the Canadian team because of their 6th place finish last year.
At the very least, Canada wants to come out of this first 3 games 1-1-1. They've got the victory already. They can afford a loss in this tournament. You can actually afford a tie and still be in the gold medal hunt. Arguably, you'd like to come out with all 3 wins, but you can come out at 500 and still be in decent shape.
Sweden still in the power play and controlling off the faceoff. Lindgren going for the front of the net. Number 18 being watched warily by Wright. Lindgren shoots right on, and that is stopped and held by Legacy. Lindgren and Wright had a pretty good battle going, and Lindgren was able to break free just long enough to deliver a nice shot. Manny Legacy stopping it.
Mats Lindgren is one of the top-rated players for next year's entry draft. In fact, probably the best Swedish prospect, and this shows you why. Good strength in the slot, does a good job of fighting off Tyler Wright, and Manny Legacy comes up with a real great save because Legacy had to be looking over his right shoulder, see that puck fed out, and then react very quickly to big Lindgren, the big center. 6'1", 187. Tyler Wright a little physically mismatched on that one, and Lindgren showed it by getting away a good shot.
But you can see on the replay just how close Tyler Wright was to him, and Lindgren was still able to get away a good shot. Lindgren in front, battling this time with Smith. Sneaking around, Lundqvist with a shot. That was stopped by Legacy. And Tornberg can't keep it in at the line. 1:34 to go in the power play for Sweden. And just over 2 minutes to play in the second period. Canada leading 3-2. Lundqvist along the boards. Has it chopped away by McCammon. Lundqvist back out to the line. Tornberg over for Lundqvist. Into the side. Lundqvist. Back to Tornberg, back to Lundqvist. Taps it in front of the net. Sundblad with a shot. That was stopped. They jam the net, looking for a loose puck. At the side, Lindgren with a jam at it. There's Sundblad there again. He couldn't put it home. That was close. Sweden still with the pressure on. 55 seconds to go in the power play. Back at the line, Johnson shoots it in wide. 30 seconds to go in the period. Tornberg works it into the corner. Lundqvist takes a look, off to the side. Lindgren trying to get in front. He's tied up. Sundblad races in there. A penalty coming up, and it is going to go against Sweden. A tripping call.
A nice play by Mike Rathje, a sweeping check of Mats Lindgren. Lindgren was a little frustrated, so he turned around and chopped the feet out from underneath. Big Mike Rathje, the San Jose Shark draft pick. You see some good puck movement here, but watch Rathje come in, that big reach of his, big sweeping check from his knees, and then you'll see Lindgren turn around and just take the feet out. Just a bad penalty for Lindgren. That will get Canada out of this period off the power play, off penalty killing anyways. Only 16 seconds remaining in the penalty, only 16 seconds left in the period, 35 seconds left in the 5-minute major to Alexander Deg. And when Canada comes back out to start this after a very brief bit of 4-on-4, they'll go on the power play in the third period because of Mats Lindgren's tripping penalty.
And the face-off move back outside the blue line. 10 seconds to go in the period. Chance bangs it up around the boards, and a penalty coming up against Canada. And that happens back in behind the Canadian goal. And tough to see who it is. Well, that's Forsberg.
Forsberg was chasing around back after the Canadian defenseman, and I believe you'll see him have the hook up there. And here comes the defenseman in, just plays the man a little too vigorously. In fact, the butt end of his stick was way out. That's going to be interesting. He got a holding penalty, if I'm not mistaken.
4 seconds still on the clock remaining in this period.
Darcy Warenka picks up 2 minutes, and I believe the referee signaled for holding. But you'll see Forsberg. Now, it looked on the replay as though the butt end of Warenka's stick came flying up. Now, whether or not Forsberg was butt-ended, he was certainly acting as if he is. Or whether or not...
That's a 10-minute penalty they have just announced to Warenka for butt-ending, it sounded like. And again, apologies, it's tough sometimes to decipher the penalty announcements. Four seconds to go in the period. And for the remaining 4 seconds, it will be a 4-on-3 advantage for Sweden. Puck comes right back. And 1 second left, not enough time for a shot. Second intermission coming up, and we'll sort out the penalty situation for you. Right now, let's go back to Gord Miller at our TSN Control Center. Darcy Warenka will serve the remainder of a 10-minute misconduct he picked up for butt-ending. Alexander Daigle picked up a 5-minute penalty for cross-checking, plus a game misconduct. So he will not be back. So the issue of benching him in the third period is a little academic at this point. He will not be suspended for the next game, however.
No, but he will be on a sort of probation, and were he to get another major foul like that, then he would miss games or a game at least.
So that will shorten up the bench just a little bit. And Sweden with a 4-on-3 man advantage to start the period, trailing in the game by a score of 3-2. And here comes their best player, Forsberg. Drops it back the line there, and it comes out. Johansson couldn't pick it up. Puck up ahead now. Schantz, sharp angle, drills it on goal. Rebound, fired it just wide. Schantz with a good chance, shorthanded. Back to the line. Rathje with a shot. That will bounce in and fielded on the one-hopper by Peter Rundqvist. He will hold on to it.
Well, Peter Forsberg has been a force for this Swedish team today, and of course, he made some comments to me last night that this was going to be a relatively easy game for Team Sweden, that they were going to beat the Canadians because they were better skaters, and that Canada would try to play physical but not be able to on the big ice. Well, at this point in time, Canada has a 1-goal lead. It hasn't been a particularly pretty effort by the Canadian team, but it has been a very gritty effort, and right now, protecting a 1-goal lead against a very strong Swedish team. The game is not yet over, but the Canadians are hoping to make Forsberg eat his words.
With predictions like that, I hope he doesn't play the stock market much.
In fairness to him, he's a cocky young individual who's got a great amount of talent. And as I said before, it ain't bragging if you back it up.
4-on-4 manpower situation. Now puck fired in by O'Coin, and that is held by Rundqvist. And on the little coast by there with a poke at it was Jeff Bess.
Canada would love to get another goal, obviously, right now, but to make this game 4-2, because the book on the Swedish team, and Perry Pern will tell you this, the players will tell you this, internationally, is that they don't play well coming out of a hole. They're not a great comeback hockey team. Now, that doesn't necessarily apply when it's only a 1-goal deficit, but a 2-goal deficit could very well break a lot of this Swedish spirit, and I'm sure the Canadians will try to get that next goal.
Off the draw, O'Coin knocks it in towards the net. That is wrestled down and carried out by Tornberg. Moves it up ahead. Lindqvist looking for it. Sundblad's up there too. He will turn back. Teams at even strength for the next 49 seconds. And then an 11-minute power play for Sweden. O'Coin hustling back, and icing is called on Sweden. We are at the Ice Hall in Gävle, Sweden. I'm Paul Romanuk with Bob McKenzie. Gord Miller back at our control center in Toronto, and you are watching exclusive coverage of the 1992-93 World Junior Championship. Canada and Sweden both winning their first games yesterday. Sweden beat West Germany. Canada shut out the United States 3-0. This is game 2 for both clubs.
And such an important game, because if it should come down to a tie in the medal standings, you have a victory over Sweden and you're tied with them, you of course will go ahead of them. Potential gold medal game here if all things were to go well for both teams.
Here's Intranubo back of the net. He's got 1 goal for Canada. Intranuvo takes the scenic route around the boards. Can't get it in front, however. Johansson off the boards and up on the other side. Freeland back out for Johansson. This is Smith controlling for Canada. Team's even strength for another 15 seconds. And then Sweden goes on a very brief power play for 11 seconds. Up off the boards. This is Smith. Intranuvo on the move, drops it to Tyler Wright. Screen shot, fired it wide to the short side. The puck skitters all the way out. Lindgren comes out of the penalty box, and Sweden on the power play. Lindgren knocks it down. Puck bouncing loose at center to Tyler Wright now, and he'll just fire it in. Blocker it up over the plexi and out of play. Live from Gävle, Sweden, this is the World Junior Hockey Championship on TSN. Manny Legacy out of his net, making like a defenseman with play just back underway. Tully with it now for Team Canada. The team's at even strength. Darcy Warenka is in the penalty box, however, for Canada, serving out the balance of a 10-minute misconduct that he picked up for butt ending. Johansson after it in there. Plays it up around the boards to his teammate Peter Forsberg for Sweden. Being shadowed by McCammon, who knocks it away from him. This is Johansson to Jansson. Rink wide, Forsberg. Trying to pull away from McCammon. Played just under 3 minutes of this third period. Canada leading by a score of 3-2. Ruhala drops it for Forsberg. And here comes Forsberg with Naslund and Ruhala. Forsberg in deep, bouncing it right in front of the net. Naslund sweeping in there, couldn't get his stick on a bouncing pass. Jansson flips it up ahead. Ruhala tips it in towards the goal. Legacy a little bit of trouble. Ruhala with his first shift of the game, and he's looking pretty good, making a few things happen out there. Up forechecking for Sweden. Here's Tornberg. Across for Jansson. Legacy drops it off. Sundblad up there steps into the boards, and the puck popping outside the blue line. Jansson couldn't keep it in. Offside on Sweden. Puck bouncing around just outside the line, poked away. Here comes Correa, in with Lapointe. Correa scores! Oh, baby, that's a huge goal for Canada.
Paul Correa picks up his first of the tournament. A give and a go and a give it back to Correa. A 2-man breakaway. Where were the Swedish defense? They got caught pinching in. The puck was punched by them, and Correa comes in, feeds it over to Martin Lapointe. Lapointe throws it back. Ronquist, no chance at all. Perfectly executed 2-on-0. The goaltender down and out. Canada gets that all-important fourth goal. A 4-2 lead on a goal by University of Maine freshman Paul Correa. Perfectly executed 2-on-0. That's the way you want to do it. No mistake. Capitalize on your opportunities. You saw the Swedish defense all get caught pinching in. Very careless on their part. They're down by 2 goals here in the third period.
McCammon will come in. Up there with Chance. McCammon is decked and he loses the puck. That is Korea's second goal in World Junior Championship play. McCammon with a shot. He scored 1 last year. Chance trying to work his way in. That was poked away from him. Puck fired in off the glass. McCammon drops it off. Canada leading 4-2. Chance goes after it. Looking in front. Johansson picks it up. And he will just feather it down the ice. Icing waved off. Legacy plays it. Stolen up there by Naslund. Tried to center it in front. Naslund up there gets it back in the corner. Tried to stride his way towards the slot. Was knocked off the puck. Now Naslund right in front. Scores! Naslund, and it's 4-3. Canada still up by 1.
What a big league goal that was. Good work by Forsberg in the corner. He gets the puck out to Naslund. Canada gets fouled up in the defensive coverage. And there Forsberg just feathers it out to Naslund. And watch the reach come around Manny Legacy. Naslund is a first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. A true sniper. He plays on moto with Forsberg. Good job by Forsberg. And just watch the pure goal scorer at work. And that's just what the Pittsburgh Penguins need. Another pure goal scorer. But he gets this deficit back to 1 goal. A great goal by Pittsburgh prospect Marcus Naslund.
Naslund scored a goal in the game against Canada last year. one of 8 that he picked up at the World Junior Tournament.
Number 19.
4-3. Canada up by 1.
And he was assisted by number 21, Forsberg.
Smith fires it in.
Number 24, Sundström. Time
Up around the boards. Pronger now. Chance for Tyler Wright. Thought he was going to try to slide it over to Niedermeyer, but couldn't quite complete the play. Here's Niedermeyer. Picks up the puck now. Intranuvo. Off to Wright. Battles in front. Scores! Tyler Wright makes it 5-3 for Canada.
Great work by Rob Niedermeyer up against the boards. Barry Pern's got to be happy with that effort. Rob Niedermeyer is only 17 years old, but he does such a great job. He's so big and strong along the boards. He dominated along there and managed to get that puck out in front to Tyler Wright, and Tyler Wright was able to sneak out from the side of the net. You see Intranovo backhand it in front of the net, and Wright just comes out from behind. Sneaky right in there and puts the puck between Ronquist's leg, but Niedermeyer did a great job to get it out to Intranuvo. Intranuvo onto the net and right out from the corner.
Tyler Wright had lost his glove, but he obviously had a very firm grasp on the situation and was able to knock it in with Canada's 5th of the game and a 5-3 lead. Lapointe striding after the puck. Correa down into the corner too. He is wrapped up.
Number 9, time 5:05.
Rathje taps it up ahead, a little bit too far for Correa was the pass. Here's Janssen. Puck bouncing around. Johansson comes in, tried to swing wide. Puck just bounced away from him. Janssen will fire it in. Bangs it in off the glass. Vernblom going after it. Top of the point, Johansson with a shot. Into the corner now, Vernblom trying to get it loose. Rahula with another jab at it. He has put a bit of spark in the Swedish attack since getting some ice time in this 3rd period. Tully, rink-wide pass. Correa cuts his way in. He's bumped up against the boards. Lapointe picks it up, looking for Correa, centers it in front. Big stop by Ronquist as he slid out to rob Adrian Aucoin. Sweden coming back. Naslund in on goal. He's hauled down, and a penalty coming up against Canada.
Marcus Naslund was breaking in there and had to be hauled down by Paul Correa. And what a show Correa put on a few minutes earlier, coming up the left side. But we're going to look at Naslund breaking to the net, and Correa's got a stick buried right in there. Naslund goes down, and I'll tell you, any close contact in this game and you go down, the referee's going to make the call. But he did have his stick wedged right into his belly. But what a terrific move. Had this crowd buzzing. Paul Correa flipping it around, doing a pirouette just inside the blue line. And right now it's Tyler Wright who's put Canada ahead 5-3 with a good goal, sneaking out from behind the net and putting it past Ronquist. Now, Canadian penalty killers have to be at their best.
And Jeff Best will just scoop it off the boards and down the ice. Sweden on the power play. And Naslund and Forsberg front and center. Forsberg actually deep in his own zone right now. Would like to be front and center. Here comes Forsberg. Out across center. He's got Naslund to his left. Forsberg draws a crowd as he heads into the corner, bumping with Pronger. Johansson. Forsberg is parked off in the corner. Naslund in the slot. Johansson. In for Forsberg. Sundström up there too. He has a pair of goals in this game. Johansson working it across. Janssen shoots it in. Back to Johansson. To Janssen. Forsberg gets by Pronger. Tries to tuck it in front, and Legacy will hang on to it with Naslund swinging by looking for a loose puck. Sweden on the power play and controlling off the faceoff in the offensive zone. Tornberg working it along the board. Sundblad going for the front of the net. Here's Tornberg. Shoots! A rising shot. Skips off the glass down into the corner. Lindgren going after it. Sundblad, number 32, up there jabbing away, and that's Smith trying to hold the fort for Canada. Sundblad pokes it loose. Lindgren was going for the front of the net, but had it poked away. Side of the goal now. Lindqvist all the way back for Tornberg. 25 seconds left in the man advantage. Lindgren gets it across. Janssen couldn't corral it, and it's tapped out by Nathan Lafayette, who hurries to the bench. Canada on a line change. 13 seconds to go in the Swedish power play. Legacy out to play it, and play is called. A penalty coming up back behind the play out by the blue line against Niklas Sundblad. And check that, it is not against Niklas Sundblad. He pointed to him.
Referee pointed to Sundblad. Sundblad was complaining. It was Rafty that got the call, and all Rafty did was come in and take Sundblad into the boards. The referee's arm went up right away. There was no question he was calling a penalty. Sundblad turned around and started complaining to the referee. The referee pointed at Sundblad. Nice smile for Mike Rathke there. I don't know why at this point, but Mike Rathke comes in right here and just rides him into the boards again. Not a flagrant foul, but that's been the way it's been this entire game.
So Sweden with a two-man advantage for 6 seconds. Forsberg back out. Johansson shooting it. Forsberg shoots just wide. One-man advantage now for Sweden. Forsberg thought it was in. He raised his arms. Janssen up to Forsberg. Naslund to Forsberg. Sundstrom is in front. Scores! Forsberg, and it's 5-4. Canada up by 1.
What a big league goal by Peter Forsberg. So strong, got great agility behind the net. Watch him come sweeping around the net. Basically, 1 or 2 strides, full speed, and tuck this behind Manny Legacy. There's Forsberg with it. Watch him, just a quick acceleration here. Boom, there he goes. Quick hands, quick feet, great balance. Marcus Naslund, his line mate on Moto of the Elite League, sets him up nicely. Looks as though he's going to deal from back there. He froze Brent Tully and Chris Pronger with a fake pass and then just wheeled around and wheeled it in. It's a 1-goal game now.
What a big league goal. Amazing quickness. And we saw evidence of that earlier. Forsberg's prowess behind the net when he moved the puck along. Looked as though he was going to carry it back in the net, and boom, there was a crisp pass right out in front of the goal. And that time he puts it in himself. 5-4, Canada up by 1 as we approach the halfway point of this third period. Rathke shoots one. Rising shot knocked away by Ronquist. Live on TSN, this is the World Junior Hockey Championship. Played 9 minutes and 21 seconds of the third period. Canada is up 5-4. Teams at even strength. This is Forsberg. Scored the last Swedish goal. A beauty from back of the net as he stormed out to the side and tucked it in on Manny Legacy.
Look at the ice time Forsberg and Naslund are getting. They're back out there again after that power play. Hardly any time off at all. Sweden obviously wants to get back in this hockey game and tie it up here with their big guns.
Daniel Johansson for Sweden. Tornberg across for Forsberg. Steps away from McCammon, and here comes Forsberg. Top speed in over the blue line, trying to get it through for Naslund. He's pulled down, and a penalty on the play.
You can't check Peter Forsberg from behind. Now, Dean McCammon had a good shot at him just inside the blue line, coming up one-on-one. He charged at Forsberg, waved his stick past him like a magic wand with one hand, allowed Forsberg to break up the ice. McCammon has great speed, was able to turn around, race down the ice after him. But when you're coming from behind, especially with this referee, and hey, there was no question there was a penalty all the way. Hauled down by McCammon, you're going to put yourself in that vulnerable position, and Team Canada's in a whole lot of trouble here right now.
Forsberg comes across center, a couple of quick strides, and all of a sudden he is just storming by people. Just like the way he scored that goal from back of the net. 2 strides, boom.
Very quick acceleration, very strong on his feet.
Sweden 3 for 7 on the power play in this game. Trailing by 1. Lindgren is in front, couldn't get it to him. Lindqvist going after it. And a good effort to get the puck out and down the ice by Tyler Wright. 1:39 to go in the power play for Sweden. Both Canadian wingers back in the neutral zone. Tyler Wright is the man up forechecking. Here's Thornburg. Up to Lundqvist. Lundqvist in along the boards. Given a rub there by Aucoin. Lindgren. Sundblad is there along the boards as well for Sweden, number 32. He and Lindgren work the puck loose, but Tyler Wright able to tap it just outside the blue line.
Great job by Tyler Wright, Ralph Internuvo, especially Wright, just dogging that puck. Canadian style, dog the puck hockey.
Wright's had a great game. Scored a goal earlier for Canada in this period. Here's Forsberg, back of that net. Trying to work around to Sundblad now. Thornburg shoots. That stop, rebound. Sundblad swung through it. 48 seconds to go on the power play. Thornburg to Janssen. Sweden with the man advantage, and here comes Naslund. Sweeping into the slot. Naslund dips into the corner. Try to roll it around, and the puck cleared up over the boards and out of play with 31 seconds remaining in the man advantage for Sweden. We played 11:27 of the third period. Canada is leading 5-4.
Bad break for Canadian defenseman Chris Pronger. Shot the puck over the boards, was trying to ice it. Harry Pern right now going with 5 defensemen. Darcy Warenka still in the penalty box with that 10-minute misconduct.
Forsberg on the faceoff. Here's Janssen, steps up. Janssen with Naslund back along the boards near the point. They'll switch up now, and he'll leave it there for Naslund. Into the corner. Forsberg tied up, and the puck knocked out by Smith as he jumped right on top of Forsberg. 10 seconds to go on the power play. And if the Swedes can establish in the offensive zone, watch to see what Forsberg does back in the net. Forsberg carrying in now. In deep, penalized player back on. Forsberg drops it to the corner. Sundstrom is in front. Couldn't get the puck to him. Forsberg, great job to keep it in and keep the drive alive. Naslund couldn't pull the trigger on the pass, however. What a move by Forsberg. Chance shoots it in. The big stretch and the grab by Ronqvist. Live from Gävle, Sweden. This is the World Junior Hockey Championship on TSN. Canada controlling off the draw. Puck fired in on goal. Lots of traffic in front of Ronqvist. Great save. Best the rebound. A couple of swipes at it. Couldn't drive it home. Lundqvist clears it out rink wide. Johansson going after it. Knocked away from him. Picked up now by Lindgren. Cuts in. Shoots. A high shot. Smothered by Legacy.
A weak clearing attempt by Darcy Warenka, who's out of the penalty box from his 10-minute misconduct. The Swedes were able to keep it in, but Manny Legacy bailed out Team Canada on that very bad clearing attempt.
Good pressure by Canada just previous to that, just prior to that rather, down in front of the Swedish goal. Bess had a couple of swipes at a bouncing puck. Legacy with the shutout against the U.S. yesterday, 3-0. And against a much stronger team has been pretty solid in this one. Lapointe up there after it along the boards. Bess will pick it up. Looking in front, Lapointe shoots one. That's stopped by Ronqvist. Correa's down there too. Couldn't get to it. Ronqvist comes out to play it. Bess chopping the puck. Lapointe back for Bess. Being watched by Lindgren. Correa after it. Comes up with the puck. Now he's pulled down. And a penalty call. We'll be right back.
Kontakt. Tid 13.06.
Well, Canada gets a big break here. Goes on the power play with Swedish defenseman Hans Jonsson. Goes to the penalty box for tripping Paul Correa. Correa looked as though he might have embellished that one a little bit to draw the penalty, but that's been the way things have gone all day. And Jonsson, so frustrated was he at getting the penalty, he drove the puck down the ice. Referee signaled a 10-minute misconduct. So it'll be now the Swedes that'll have to go with one defenseman less, although they've got a 7-man defensive unit and aren't afraid to use it.
Kenny Jonsson with the puck, not to be confused with Hans Jonsson in the penalty box. Here's Tully, shooting it off the side of the net. Tully blasted that one. Here's Forsberg, steps around one man, and away he comes up there with Naslund. Naslund trying to get it back to Forsberg. He shot it up off the glass. Forsberg had gotten away with that great speed. Here comes Tyler Wright, crisscrossing at the line with Intranuvo. And Tyler Wright takes a high stick from Daniel Johansson and drops to the ice like a bag of bricks.
Looked like he caught that one right on the throat. Peter Friesen makes his way to the ice. And Canada athletic therapist coming out to check on the condition of Tyler Wright, who got that stick, looked like the blade of a stick right around the throat here. He was actually coming from behind. It's Marcus Naslund, number 19, the blade of a stick. It'll be interesting to see what the call is here, because when players go down and they're injured, quite often they get the major penalty or the 10-minute misconduct to go with it.
And the stick sneaking right in.
Right up under the throat. Tyler Wright still down on the ice, and in many respects, that's no different than when Alexander Deg cross-checked Forsberg up against the boards, and Naslund is gone for the game, and it is a 5-minute major. A big break for Canada here as Tyler Wright still down, feeling the effects of that stick blade on his throat. And the team Sweden loses its #1 sniper. Peter Forsberg is the best two-way player on the team, the strongest player on the team, and a threat at all times. But Marcus Naslund is the great finisher, a pure goal scorer, and if they're going to come back and win this hockey game, they're going to have to do it without their top goal scorer.
And Tyler Wright groggily recovering along the boards. Those face masks and shields, you can see how they're angled down. It's sort of the cage type situation at the bottom. They give pretty good protection, but still you are vulnerable, your throat particularly, your throat and neck area, to a high stick or a skate blade or a puck.
But again, for Canada, good things happen when you go hard through the blue line area, go to the net. Not a good thing for Tyler Wright to be hurt, but a good thing to draw the penalty, and Canada's in good shape here if they can click on the power play.
Day off tomorrow, and then Canada getting set to face Russia. Kozlov will be on that team. However, Alexei Yashin is not with the team yet. He is playing in the Europa Cup. That's 10 a.m. Eastern time on TSN, 7 o'clock in Pacific time zones. And that would not have happened in the past, but these days when they need hard currency in what was the Soviet Union, the Europa Cup, a lot of money at stake. So they want Yashin on the team that is there to bring home some cash. Here's Pronger. Shoots! That's stopped by Ronquist. Pucking along the boards. Team Canada. 5-on-3. And Grattan is parked down in front of the net. Hasn't seen much ice time. Grattan is a sniper. See if he can get one here. This is Pronger with the puck now. Works it across. Puck fired. Grattan in front, tried to tip. This is Correa now. Tully and Pronger back at the blue line. Tully over to Pronger. One times it just wide. Correa darting after that puck back of the net. Leaves it there for Grattan. Grattan back for Correa. Lapointe is in front now. Tully to Pronger. Waits. Shoots. And he is stopped by Ronquist. No rebound either. Ronquist closing his body around that and smothering it.
Very important for Team Canada on the power play just to be patient. They've got 4 minutes and 17 seconds still left on that major penalty to Marcus Naslund. 44 seconds left on the minor penalty to Lindgren. And as a result, you just want to be out there patient. Lots of puck movement. Every second that ticks off the clock is a second to their advantage. They would desperately like to get the goal, though, and maybe put this game on ice.
And Forsberg stays out on the ice. He headed over towards the bench and then turned and came back out. The big scenario here, of course, Forsberg with that great breakaway speed, you could potentially see him darting away with the over-anxious Canadian defenseman pinching in on the 5-on-3. Here's Correa.
Over.
Back for Smith. Gets it across. Rathje shoots. Low shot just wide. Here's Smith again. Grattan parked right in front. Correa. Smith shoots. And that is stopped by Ronquist. Couple of good stops by Peter Ronquist.
Ottawa Senators obviously very impressed with Peter Ronquist. Perhaps maybe the goaltender of the future in Ottawa.
A lot of talk about the future in Ottawa.
There's not much for the present, but Ronquist does a good job there. He had big Chris Grattan right on his doorstep. Had a tough time seeing that puck. Got down low and was able to field it. Chris Grattan, difficult situation, not a lot of ice time now being out there on the power play.
Yeah, but a great move by Perry Pern to get him out there. Here's Smith. Shoots. That stopped. Rebound in front. Here's Grattan. Fanned on it. Bouncing puck. And Forsberg pulls it away. Trying to get away down the boards. Forsberg pulled down. No penalty call, and he turns around pleading with the referee, or berating him, a more apt description.
Well, there was no question it was a dive, and Forsberg came very close to making physical contact with Brett Parsons on the way back. It was all he could do to hold back from slugging him.
Forsberg up forecheck. Tried to poke it away from Smith. Grattan comes in the wing. Shoots right through the crease. Canada still on the power play for the next 3 minutes and 13 seconds. A 5-on-4 man advantage now. Here's Correa. Trying to cut in front. Grattan with a shot. That's knocked away by Ronquist. Forsberg picks it up, and he'll just dump the puck to center. Jason Smith now for Canada. 2:54 to go on the power play. Lafayette heading up to forecheck. Janssen gets there first and dumps it back outside the blue line. 4 minutes to play in the game. Canada up 5-4. Lafayette. Cross ice pass. Here's Chance with McCammon in front. Tried to center it. Here's a coin. McCammon. McCammon is knocked down, and the puck comes outside the line. O'Coin works it across. Lafayette crisscrossing in there with Chance. Chance along the boards. He'll catch up with it back in the net. Jeff Chance looking in front, and the puck stolen and cleared down the ice by Kenny Janssen. Here comes O'Coin in over the blue line. Top of the slot, trying to roll it in towards the goal. Niedermeyer going after it. And they jam it up. Niedermeyer down on his knees. Still no whistle. Johansson tying him up. And we get a stoppage. 16:54 we played in the third period. And it is a 5-4 game. Canada on top. The men in story to this point. Martin Lapointe with a goal and a couple of assists for Team Canada. And Sundstrom, Nicholas Sundstrom, also with a good game for Sweden. He has a couple of goals. And in terms of penalties, and there have been lots of them, Alexander Daigle and Marcus Naslund both ejected from this game. One minute and 46 seconds to go on the power play for Team Canada. 3 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the game. Niedermeyer in front. Tried to snap it on goal after he took the pass off his skate. This is Pronger now for Canada. Over for Tully. Vernbloom up there forechecking for Sweden. Although not any forechecking pressure to speak of. Sweden shorthanded with time ticking down. Vernbloom along the boards. Can't get it out. Here's Tully. Looked over to the other point, but Pronger had drifted back, so this is Niedermeyer with it. Tyler Wright centers it in front. Moving in now in Trenuvo. Circles to the corner. Here's Tully. Shoots. That is partially blocked. Nice job by Vernbloom to slide in front of that. Here's Trenuvo in the corner. Looking for Wright. He gets it to him. Tyler Wright, 50 seconds to go on the power play. Looking in front, Niedermeyer was trying to shake loose. Niedermeyer with it now in the corner. Back to Tully. Pronger yelling for the pass, but Vernbloom got on top of Tully before he could move it over. Just under 2 minutes to go in the game. 1 minute and 55 seconds, 33 seconds to go in Canada's power play. Canada with a 5-4 lead. And if they can hang on, they will go up 2-0 in the tournament.
Well, Team Canada's inability on this power play is going to set up a great finish here. 26 seconds left. And Coach Perry Pern would have loved to get a power play goal to put this game on ice, a 2-goal difference. And of course, we have to go back to last year's tournament in Fusen. The Swedes tied that game very late.
I remember it well. Michael Renberg scored with 7 seconds left.
Wasn't unlike that situation. I remember back the World Junior Championships 1989 in Alaska, Canada and Sweden tied as well. Late goals. And Canada would love to put this away on the power play, but it's going to be a tremendous finish here. 20 seconds left in the power play.
Both of the big participants in that big goal for Sweden no longer with the team. Michael Renberg scored the goal with 7 seconds left, and Michael Nylander ate Eric Lindros alive on the faceoff and then went to the front of the net to set up the goal. And just to refresh your memory, here's Gord Miller. Face-off just outside the blue line. We'll get to Gord a little later on. 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining. 14 seconds to go on the power play. Bass up on the face-off for Canada. Puck stolen in front. Lapointe shoots. Rebound. And Ronqvist. Big couple of stops.
This was the situation last year at the World Junior Championship. In the dying seconds, Sweden over Canada with the goal, 7 seconds remaining. That caused the tie and cost Canada a medal.
8 seconds to go on the Canadian power play, and that goal was scored with 7 seconds to go. And that really hurt Team Canada. They headed off the ice and treated that game psychologically almost as though it were a defeat. They didn't recover the next day, and they ended up tying Finland. And for all intents and purposes, things got worse from there. Here's Lapointe up there for Team Canada. Teams at even strength. 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. Sweden down by 1. Havelid moves it down into Canadian territory. Ratchie gets there and fires it down the ice. Less than a minute to go in the game. Legacy is forced to hang on. He wanted to keep it in play, but with pressure bearing in, he holds on to it with 51 seconds to play.
Well, hey, this is great. World Junior Championships. This is what it is all about. Face-off inside the Canadian end. 49 seconds left.
Pardon my math. The clocks count up here. They do not count down as they do in North America. I did a little bit of quick addition and subtraction, and if my arithmetic teacher is watching, then he's probably cringing right now. I knew that Romanuk could be lousy at math, he's saying.
Canadians would be cringing too at the putting extra time on the clock there. Sweden's taking a timeout. Coach Tommy Tomp trying to work something out here with his crew, and you can be sure if it involves anybody, it will be Peter Forsberg. Obviously a big problem at this point for Sweden. Marcus Naslund, the sniper, is gone.
Work your ass off there. Come on now. 40 seconds. Control it. Control it.
Forsberg, as you mentioned, will be the principal in any play. Empty net for Sweden. Forsberg moving up in the face-off. He hasn't lost many. And the Canadian players, you can see them signaling, and they were all looking over at the bench. There's lots of gesturing going on. Coaches moving players around.
Face-off's critical at this point, Paul, and Peter Forsberg has been tremendous on them all night long.
Chance off the boards. Back for Johansson. Shoots it in towards the net. A rolling puck is stopped. Sweden with tremendous pressure. Puck into the side. Forsberg. Empty net. Fired in by Johansson. That's knocked away. 30 seconds left. Johansson shoots. Rathke has lost his stick. Johansson moves it across. That's blocked by the defense. Johansson was the intended receiver, and it's pulled away from him. And icing called on Canada with 10 seconds to go. A face-off in Canadian territory, and does this ever remind me of last year? It was exactly this scenario. A face-off in Canadian territory, dying seconds of the game. Sweden won the draw and tied it.
Timeout, Team Canada. All sorts of excitement, tension building here. Dean McCammon would have loved to get that puck down the ice without the icing. He shot it a little too hard off the boards, and as a result, face-off to the left of Manny Legacy. And Paul, was it not to the left of Trevor Kidd when the Swedish heroics happened last year?
And Tyler Wright and Martin Lapointe and Paul Correa all had a front row seat when that unfolded. Tyler Wright was on the ice, as a matter of fact.
I would imagine they'll have a right-handed center out there to slap that puck up against the boards. Looks like Jeff Shantz will be out there taking the face-off, and he is the right-handed center. It'll be his job to bang it over to the boards. And keep the puck away from the front of the net, get it over to the boards, and ring it out or ring it around. But just keep it away from the front of Manny Legacy. 10 seconds away from victory over the team arguably favored to win the gold medal here this year. What a huge win this would be for Canada.
Lundgren takes the face-off, gets it to Forsberg. 6 seconds left. 5 seconds. Forsberg comes around, centers it in front. And Canada pulls it off this time.
Whoa, was that ever close? Right down to the dying seconds. Number 18, Mats Lindgren, the puck just zipped by his stick, and he couldn't put him on. A very great win for Canada. They poured off the bench when that buzzer went, whooping it up, celebrating 2-0 victories over the United States, a victory over top-rated Sweden, and a crushing defeat for the Swedes here on home ice in a tournament their fans just expect they're going to walk away with. In the words of Peter Forsberg, must have to come back to haunt him as well as he played in this game. You don't ever underestimate a Canadian hockey team and throw a kick dirt in their face.
Well, you had a look at the victors a few seconds ago, and you get a look at the vanquished lined up along their blue line. Missed by inches and seconds.
One of the great parts of international hockey, the anthem being played after the victory. I talked to Manny Legacy yesterday. He said he'd never experienced anything like it in his career. It was the first time he'd ever been in international hockey and heard the Canadian national anthem played after a victory. Well, here comes the second, and what a huge win in this tournament for Canada. 2 days from now, go up against the Russians in what could very well be the gold medal hockey game.
And now the Canadian national anthem.
players in each team will now be presented by...
And now they will announce the players of the game.
Mr. Steve Carlson. In Team Canada, player number 30, Manny Legacy, has been...
Manny Legacy is the player of the game. He picked up a shutout in the game yesterday against the U.S. and was not. He lets in 4 goals and is. Well,
you figure it out.
And everyone over to Mob Legacy. For Sweden, no surprise, Peter Forsberg played a great game, number 21.
A heroic effort by Peter Forsberg in a losing cause. Small consolation for him and his Swedish teammates.
Well, Tre Kroner is the nickname of the Swedish team, the 3 crowns. That's the logo they have in front. But in this game, it was Canada that was wearing the crown. They were crowned with a victory over the favorites.